Hello everyone. Today's video will be on the topic status of academic entrepreneurship in India. So as academician we want to know that how we can commercialize our research being within the staying within the academic environment. And so the topic itself is a very broad topic, and I don't know, one video cannot justify this whole topic, but certainly we are going to touch upon various important aspects of this topic. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. So before we really start discussing on various important topics, so these are my main points that I want to focus on. The first point is knowledge and technology transfer from universities to industry. So that is the conventional way an invention or an innovation in the lab goes to the market. But then of course university may have its own structure of commercializing its research, not related to specific industry or taking help of the certain industries or companies outside academia. So that can happen. Then in this next step we will discuss what are the academic entrepreneurship models that had been followed by various developed countries in the world. And certainly as in India, of course, we are very much lacking, because certainly the reason is that we are still developing country. And then of course in the third stage we will go into the history of academic entrepreneurship in India, how much had been done and what are the key institutions and how they had implemented it. And finally more of a bigger topic, which is like from an economist point of view, how they will see entrepreneurship in academic environment, how that can impact the society, and etc. So let's get started. Now we will dive into these four topics one by one. So we have a two spectrum of people from academia working mainly in universities, and people in the industrial environment. And these two set of workforce has different core value. In academia, basically we have the core value is the knowledge is for knowledge sake. That means we are producing knowledge to create more knowledge, and more or less the activities are around teaching and research. Whereas in industry the core value is profit, the objective is profit, and hence the activities are around product development and R&D for that. Now these two group of people, if they can collaborate, then there can be a good amount of synergy, because what the people in industry, the research they do, the base of that is being founded by people from universities or researchers from universities. But when the two groups of people collaborate, then there can be a great synergy, and there can be very innovative products can come out. And from an employment point of view, it is also important, because in the end all the people working in industry, they are trained through universities and all these things. And there is a problem that if we don't have too much of collaboration with industry, then what will happen is that the students that we produce will not going to have that practical kind of skills that they can implement directly into the industry. So they need some training, etc. So this kind of collaboration between industry and university are always beneficial from both end. So yeah, now you need to know that as an academician, the research that you do, that can be commercialized in various ways. One thing of course that is that there is no need for external industry or company to be collaborated. Rather, university has its own capability to give you the infrastructure, which is like any university spin-off, something like that. And also, and of course, within that spin-off, you may take the major role, like you want to run the business, which is called inventor entrepreneur model. Or rather, it can happen that there is an external person who is hired because he had some executive he has some business background and etc. And so that is called surrogate model. So some, and most of the time surrogate models are followed because people from academia doesn't have that kind of a exposure to really create create that transformation from an idea to a successful commercial product, because there are a lot of aspects that we are not aware of. So yeah, that's a very important thing to know. Now other thing is like that sometimes the research that you do, that is patented by your university, and then the university basically license it to some external company, so that also can happen, and then you'll get royalty money and etc. University get royalty money, and you also get, as an inventor, you get the money. And also there are possibility, like if your idea or research is of that value, then the university may want to create a business, or like to incubate that and create a business out of it. So that's also a possibility. Now you have to understand that there are a lot of various challenges if you are taking a leadership role in your spin-off, and it includes challenges such as developing a business model that match technological and market needs, and mobilizing financial and human resource, finding target market, etc. So those can be very daunting tasks, and that's why most of the time surrogate model had been basically followed. Now so here in the table I had shown you that some historical perspective where how which shows the importance of university spin-offs, specifically in the high-tech companies or high-tech technology companies, where it had been seen that in 1980s almost 72% of the high-tech companies formed in the Boston, USA area, that had been incubated, or I mean the origin is from MIT, and other data is like from 1987 to 1997. So in France there are like among all the high-tech companies, almost 40% of them are basically spin-offs from universities. And finally in 2000s almost 17% of the high-tech companies in the Cambridge area of UK are basically originated from spin-offs of universities in UK. So that basically shows the importance of spin-offs, specifically in high-tech companies, because what happens in high-tech companies is that it is always built around a certain innovation that is the cutting edge, that is based on cutting edge research. So that cannot be done by the normal people doing business in a very different settings actually. So here we understand what is the how the university spin-offs are very important. Now we will look into various academic entrepreneurship model followed by developed countries. So why developed country? Because in the developing countries like India or maybe similar countries, there had not been a very focused law, or not law but reform that had been done to help that thing, that the university will produce some technology and that will be transferred and etc etc. So that is not the case in India. So as an, I mean, historical study, if you want to do, then you'll have to look into the developed countries like USA, France, UK, etc etc, and European countries, of course. So so first, before starting that, you have to understand that throwing money is not the solution. You have to invest on the human resources also, like how you trained the next generation scientists and engineers to have that spirit of entrepreneurship even within the academic environment. They don't have to just do the basic the raw form of entrepreneurship. They can be in academia, but they have the spirit of entrepreneurship, being working in academic environment. So that need good amount of investment in human capital, and that is itself is a very big topic, and related to how you kind of give the certain not education in high secondary and high school and college and etc, how do you change those education policies, and of course we have new education policy, and I hope that some aspect had been seen into that, various things like vocational training, etc. These are very much important. Now, coming to the topic of this slide, that what are the model that had been followed, and that is basically through forming something called technology transfer office in each university, not I mean mainly in university in Western world like USA, Canada, UK, France, Netherlands, etc., or also in other countries. So the task of a technology transfer office is like compilation of research paper, innovation, discovery from academicians, selection of potential papers, innovations for patenting, selecting IP protection approval from the technology transfer committee, filing of the IP protection for the innovation, exploring the commercial potential of the innovation research, prompting the commercialization of researches, identify the secure industry partnership collaboration. So you can see the role of TTO is huge, and they do play a huge role because this is such a daunting task. An individual level academician who is very focused on very very niche level thing of certain research, they will never be able to, or at least most of us will never be able to reach up to that or have that kind of vision that what can be the outcome of this research in the commercial world. So the task is done by this TTO office people, and they need different skill set, and that is basically the more or less the model that the developed country had followed. And now in related to that, there was something called this particular act, I don't know whether the pronunciation is right, it's called Bay-Dole Act 1980s, and this is an act in USA which basically makes possible that the research that is will be patented by the university. The right of those patent remain in the university, not in the government or federal government funding agencies. And they say that this particular act or policy had really impacted the academic spin-off and entrepreneurship skill of the universities. So this is something very interesting to know, and I don't know what is the Indian equivalent of it, but of course, as I'm not really expert on this thing, but something that worked in other part of the world might not work here. But so that itself is something called policy research. So I think, but that what I'm interested is or what I want to show you is that this is something a very interesting act that really changed the course of US history. Now the question is, what is the history of academic entrepreneurship in India? Now So first of all, before going to the details, so I want to say that I just read one paper and just doing this video, and I will be continually reading and learning a lot of things. So my knowledge is right now is more or less fixed, or limited, sorry, and hence I don't want to disrespect anything. So what I know for sure is this, that we have what is called IITs in India, and these are top institutions, had global reputation also, and they had something called in various IIT, like in IIT Delhi there is something called FITT, which I think the full form is, if I am not mistaken, well, I don't remember, but I can say for sure what is IRCC means, which is another organization not in IIT Delhi but IIT Bombay. It's called Industrial Research and Consultancy Center, because I'm from IIT Bombay. And there is something called SIGN, which is Independent Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and again that is from IIT Bombay. And also something called Research Park from IIT Madras, and also there was a similar research park in IIT Bombay that had been that in the process of development, as I know. So these all institution, not institution, but the various bodies inside the IITs, they really somehow, not somehow, but they basically do this task, what is TTO do, like Technology Transfer Office do, and they had good track record, and they had these bodies had been founded long ago, not really recently, but at least I think in 1990s at least, and they had good track record, I think, so there is something some information I can give you, that by March 2009, 33 signed companies were formed from IITB, of which 14 have graduated and 15 are resident at IITB campus, and 4 incubation units did not succeed. So that is some statistics here. Now the question, very important, is that what is the picture for other university, because there had been a lot of debate and various talks about how we can make the conventional universities in India to do some research and collaborative some higher level of research universities or research institution, and be part of the whole process, because this is not the case, because most of the university are more or less focused on research, teaching. So that should not be the case actually, because what happens is that even you are doing teaching, a certain amount of research always going to give you some amount of very good input, which will be beneficial for your students actually. So that is, I am very strong believer of that. So yeah, so lot of question, and maybe in future I will read something about that and make it separate video of what things are going on and what is the future scope and what we can do and etc. So yeah, now at last we'll basically describe a very interesting topic. And first of all, I'm not an economist, so anyone who is from economy background may find this description a little bit very childish, but anyway, so I will just try to give you a good picture here. So the question is, from an economist point of view, how they will see, or how they see the academic entrepreneurship, and how it can be really a driving force in the society to lift up the society and etc. So there is something called there is a paper, actually 2014 paper, and the author had proposed an economic development theory. It's called I don't know the pronunciation, but I think it's called Schumpeterian economic development theory. And first of all, it assumes that the topic is actually context it to the developing country, not developed country. And there is some assumption that the particular developing country has some amount of natural resources, and I think that is true in most of the developing country. They have some natural resources, and the question is how they can, rather than exporting those natural resources to the developed country, and then developed country will produce some high value product, and then they will buy those product at a larger cost. So that is the problem. So how this problem can be solved through the framework of academic entrepreneurship model, and etc, etc. And he or she, I don't know, the author describes this particular economic development theory through the I think 5 pillars, and these key pillars are window, network, corridor, product, and outcome. Now let me describe this thing, because these are just terms. So window means, first the assumption is that the developing country, particular developing country, has a lot of natural resources, and that can be used to produce innovative product, and that had a value in the outer world and as well as the inner, the inside the country. Because specifically for India, we have a good amount of people, and also we have different states with different culture, and so they have different market itself. So we are living, each state is some sort of in a kind of a different country in itself, because we have different language and etc etc. So very complex and diverse kind of a system. So the window basically means that we have this, and also internal thing and external, how we keep the relation with the neighboring country good, and then we make a business deal, and the product can be sold to them, and of course we have some business relation, like they will also sell some product. That's how we kind of go inside the global supply chain, etc. And of course this will produce more employment and improved standard of living. So that is the window part of it, which kind of contextualize the whole thing. Now, but there are other pillars. One pillar is called network, which basically means questions the so again, I'm describing this thing because I'm not really in economics, so my description will be very much childish, but anyway. So network is basically that it talks about what are the key pillars of entrepreneurial network, and that is, those are government, entrepreneurs, and firm or company, and of course there can be FDI, foreign direct investment. And the future goal should be like that the role of the government is likely to change from that of a custodian of the nation's economy to that of a facilitator. So yeah, so that is the end goal should be. And then the corridor basically talks about the pillar of corridor, basically projects into the concept of microeconomics and macroeconomic perspective. So microeconomic means like that certain spin-off, whatever the it is doing, the value that is creating. So we have to understand that in high-tech industry itself, and in any industry, what we do is basically we create a value in the product, that valorization that we do. The raw material or the parts that is used, that doesn't need it to be produced from the scratch, that can be, or that in generally is bought from some other company or some government institution, and then the spin-off or the company is creating that value, adding that value into the product, and then that gets sold in a higher price. So that's what the whole process in a microeconomic perspective is. Now, so, and also macroeconomic point is like a larger picture of thing, because there are a lot of things, because we can see that from a spin-off point of view, this whole supply chain of things, these are nodes. And from a macroeconomic point of view, we have basically so much nodes inside a, let's say, economic body or functioning country, that you need to have some macroeconomic perspective, and government should have, uh, a very clear vision onto solving any problem that is forming inside this environment. So a lot of time what happens is that, changing of government is kind of a problem, because sometimes they don't have that same line of futuristic, not futuristic, same line of vision. And then what happens is that the certain policy implemented by present government get nullified by the new policy that implemented by the next government. So that's kind of a problem. And I think it is a task of a administrative people, like in India, I guess we have IAS, Indian and Administrative Service. So it is task of those people or similar kind of people to make sure that that transformation is smooth, and we are as a nation are going towards a certain goal, and we are making progress, rather than just dropping and then again shooting up. So that's not the correct thing to do, or not the right thing we should have. And of course, there is called fourth pillar is product itself, which is basically that what we are very much expert in, and that we need to see, etc. And of course, outcome is that we have the whole thing. So again, I am not really economist, so I try to do my best here. So yeah, finally I want to say that this is I read this particular paper. Title of the paper is Academic Entrepreneurship in India, published in Journal of Entrepreneurship and Management in 2017. Author is Deepti Shankar. And so my discussion is based on this paper, and of course in future I would like to move into broader topic and reading more paper. So but the time being, I'm just reading one paper and doing my presentation here. So yeah, that's it. And if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in the next week.